Hi folks, I had a really good response from the song Mama Tried by Merle Haggard that I posted last week. And several people asked me about how I was playing the kickoff, especially on the banjo, so I wanted to go over that with you. The song turned out really well. I wasn't expecting to be able to do that one as a banjo solo, but I tried it on the guitar, and then I knew it was in the key of D, and I really love rolling over a D chord and out of the key of D. So I messed around with it and even figured out a little bit about what the Telecaster was playing and how to play that on the banjo to make it work at least well enough for me to do a YouTube video. Woo. Anyway, let's see what we've got here. So it is in the key of D, so we're still in G tuning, and then I can't remember. I went back and looked at the video. I think I capoed my fifth string up two steps there, so that would be to an A. I think it'll probably work without capoing it up and leaving it just in open G tuning. And then for the kickoff, I'm using the D7 position, okay? But then the rest of the time, like in the verses and chorus, I'm using the regular D position with just my index and middle finger there on the second and third string most of the time. Leaving both Ds open, the fourth string and the first string are both Ds. All right, so I got some tab I'll put up in just a minute, but just to get it in your brain, here's what I played on the kickoff. First thing I remember knowing. Okay, so there it is. So let's put up that first tab there. I'll put that up for you. And when you look at that first measure, it's pretty much a rolling measure. So you have the big fourth string open, which is a quarter note, and then you've got 4 eighth notes together, so it's starting a roll, but it starts on the first string. So, and you're holding the D7 position, so that third string is fretted at the second fret. Okay, so that's what the first measure sounds like. Okay, and the second measure is, go ahead and tell you, I'm sure I didn't note it correctly because I wasn't sure how to tab it out. I know what I'm doing on it. I know how much time they should take, so the math works out in my brain, but I wasn't sure how to mark it as far as the tab. So somebody's going to have to help me out with that. But the first note, the third note, and the fifth note, you'll see I circled it up below. Those are all quarter notes. Okay, so if you're talking about out of 8 beats, that would be 6 beats. And then the second note and the fourth note there are eighth notes. So the math works out right. I just wasn't sure how to tie together the eighth note right next to a quarter note next to it. So somebody will help me out with that, and I'll know. So I get as much out of these videos sometimes as you guys do. It's always a learning experience trying to put the pieces together in my brain to try to teach it to somebody else. And sometimes I'll learn some musical notation along the way. So here is the second measure, and it's syncopated. It's let me go all the way through. Start back at the beginning. And then you repeat all that again. So. Okay, pretty tough. You could probably do some other things. You could just roll and do 2 measures of rolling instead of that kind of syncopated thing. I think the Telecaster, and I saw Steve Dilling play it with third time out. He kind of reaches up from the full D position, and so, okay, which is probably more true to the way it was played by the Telecaster on Merle's version. But I hadn't heard that at the time, so I just kind of did my thing down the neck a little further. So. which is 2 measures, and then you repeat those 2 measures again. So that's the first 4 measures. So here it is a little bit faster. Okay, and then you go to the bending part, which would, and it gets really sparse, so it would really be good to have the bass and the guitar strumming along, but I don't have that, so I just did the best I could with it and went on. If you play it fast enough, then it moves on, and to me it's kind of one of the trademark hooks to the song, so when you hear it, it's like, oh yeah, I know what that is, that's Mama Tried. And one thing you can do is to try, I'm gonna put the tab up, is to try to fill in with usually it's an open 5th string or an open 1st string in between some of the really sparse notes. So if you'll notice, you're really doing a bend, a release bend, if you will, on the first string at the 3rd fret. So you're, and then open, and then you're doing the same thing at the 4th fret of the 3rd string, then to the 2nd fret. So that's really it. It's really 4 notes. To the next measure. Except you'll notice I've got a couple of grace notes, kind of filler notes. To keep it going a little bit better, I alternate it with the 5th string open. So okay, when you come back to that D chord, now we're getting ready to start the verses, so I'm back to a regular D position, but leaving the 1st and 4th open and getting away from that D7. That D7 I usually just play on the kickoff part there. Okay, so here we have the whole thing all together, relatively slow. It's hard to get your fingers in the position to do that first release bend. So I was a little bit tardy on that one, if you will. Let's try it again. The first thing I remember knowing. All right, so that should be enough to help you at least to try to see what I was doing on the kickoff. Let me just quickly talk about the rest of the song and the chord structure. You can look up the chord structure, but it's D, and then it goes to G, and then D, and G, D, and then A. So and the chorus is a little bit different. It's got a minor in it, a B minor. Okay, but just kind of watch along here, and I might stop occasionally to give you some insight. When you do the A, a lot of times it is the A7. So yes, you can bar the whole thing and kind of roll over it. Or if your fingers are small enough to fret the 1st and 2nd string and the 4th string, but leave the 3rd string open, that's the A7. Okay, I usually did that on my roll on the 1 measure of A. So, and then also the first time I go to the G, you can slide. I think I did a 4 to 5 slide. You can also do a 2 to 5 slide. So let me just do one verse here and one chorus, and we'll end this. The first thing I remember knowing was the lonesome whistle blowing and a youngin' stream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I'm bound. No one could change my mind, but Mama tried. And I turned 21 in prison, doing time without parole. Here comes the minor. Okay, so if you think about that, it's a B minor. If you think about Foggy Mountain Breakdown, right, it's in the key of G, but you go up to... Okay, how do you get to the minor? This is the D position G chord, and you just drop that, drop your middle finger down right there on the 9th fret, okay, which is the same fret that your ring finger's on, and that makes your E minor out of the key of G. Well, now this is still a D shape, but now it's a D shaped D chord. So how do you find the minor to that is you drop down your ring finger in this case even with your pinky on the 4th fret. Okay, and that will work at any D position. You can get the relative minor that goes with it. All right, so I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right. Mama tried, mama tried, mama tried to raise me better, but her pleading I deny. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause mama tried. Okay, and I just did the same thing in between. I did a little turnaround. I did the same thing I did on the kickoff. There is a break to it, and I kind of messed around with a little bit. But once again, if you had some people backing you up, you could do a little bit more, not worry about it falling apart. But here's what it might sound like if you do the break. Okay, just to give you a little food for thought there. Something like that might work, or you could do the kickoff again. Or if you don't like my kickoff, you can just kind of, dear old daddy, rest his soul. I mean, you could just do a little bit of rolling for 2 measures and then get back into it. You could kick it off the same way if you don't like, you can't get exactly what I'm doing, or you don't think it sounds good. You just roll for a couple measures, keep in time, and then come in with your vocals. All right, hope that helped. Sorry to be long-winded there. And if you can help me out on my second tab there, second measure of tab, figure out how to mark the 8th notes versus the quarter notes on that, I would appreciate it. All right, take care.